Hello boys and girls. Today we're going to go ahead and get started talking about informational text. This is a type of story that uses details in words and pictures to tell about a main or central idea. We're going to continue our lesson on weather around the world. Many places in the world have extreme weather. Some places are very cold. Some places are very hot. Some places are very rainy. Some places are very windy. People find ways to live in all of these places. In Alaska, it is very cold. People make huts out of snow. The walls block out the cold winds. In the desert, it is often very hot. People live in tents. The tents keep the hot air out. In China, it can be very rainy. People make hats out of plants. They wear the hats when they work. In Antarctica, it is very windy. Scientists live and work in buildings of many shapes and sizes. Around the world, people find ways to live with extreme weather. Choose a place you just read about. What would you do to be able to live there? Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and go back to the beginning, and I'm going to ask you some questions. Okay, so here, extreme weather. I don't know what it means. What can I do? I am going to look closely at the text to see if I can figure it out. So, let's see. The text says, some places are very cold. Some places are very hot. And the next page says, it talks about it being very rainy and very windy. So from this, I can tell that extreme weather is weather that is very difficult to live in. Okay, so let's look at this. What place does the first picture show? Underline the words that name the place. Is it talking about it being rainy, or is it talking about it being windy? You're right, rainy. We can look at it here. Okay. In Alaska, it is very cold. That's what the text says. It also says, people make huts out of snow. The picture makes a connection to the words. It shows us a hut made out of snow. Here, it says, how do people live in very cold and very hot places? Looking at the picture, what can you tell me? How do people live in very cold and very hot places? Yes, they use tents to keep the hot air out. The text makes a connection because it says that. The tents keep the hot air out. So the picture of the tent goes along with the word tent. So the author is making connections from the text to the pictures. Okay, so it can be very rainy. What do they do because it becomes very rainy? What do they make? Yes, they make hats out of plants, and you can see their hats right here. And they wear these when they work. Why do people in China wear hats when they work? So that goes back to this one here. And they wear it to keep their face from the rain, to protect themselves. In Antarctica, it is very windy. So that's why they have different buildings with different shapes to protect them from the wind. So as you can see from all the pictures, people find different ways to live in extreme weather, whether it may be cold, hot, rainy, or windy, and sunny. Okay. Next, we're going to go ahead and we're going to read our decodable book. This book is called Drips and Drops. Before we begin, let's look at this right here. So it says initial and final consonant blends. The first word, drips. Can you say drips? Good job. The next word is drops. Drops. This word right here says plans. Plans. Can you read the next two words? Yes, splat, trip. Okay, so our consonant B, can you read the first word? Big. Good job. The next word? It. Bit. The last one? Ben. Why, if I'm looking at these three words, why is this B a capital B? Yes, because it's the name of a person. Okay, let's look at our consonant J. Can you read the first word? Jam. Good job. Can you read the next word? Just. Just. Good job. And here are our high frequency words. Let's see if you know them. The first one is again. Can you say again? Be, could, new, our, over, saw, there, they, was, were. Good job. Now let's get started. It was one. We had plans to go over to see Ben. He has a new pup. We were to be at his home at 2. We saw the big drips and drops. We just sat in our home. Could we be there at 3? We were in a bit of a jam. Could we be with Ben and the pup? The drips and drops came again. They went splat. Our mom sat with us. The trip was late. We saw Ben and the pup at 4. The end. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to our reading packet. So our first so it says, is it a question? Directions. Listen to your teacher. Read each question. Was the question answered in the story? Circle yes or no. So number 1. Is Jack's birthday today? Yes or no? This is referring to the story that we did here. So let's go ahead and read the story again. Jack's birthday. Today is Jack's birthday. He sees a big box in his room. It is covered in brown paper. Jack opens the box. Wow! There is a bright red boat inside. He finds a note. It says, "Happy birthday, Jack." So let's go back to the question. It says, is Jack's birthday today? Yes. And we can find that from the story. If we go to back to the story, it tells us here, today is Jack's birthday. So this is where we found the answer for number 1. So let's look at number 2. Is the box wrapped in birthday paper? Let's go check the story. He sees a big box in his room. It is covered in brown paper. It tells us here brown paper. So let's go back to the question. Is the box wrapped in birthday paper? Circle yes or no. No, good job. Okay, next one. Does Jack find a train inside? This one's an easy one. You can even look at the picture. But let's go ahead and go to the story because it's always good to check. Okay, here. Jack opens the box. Wow, there is a bright red boat inside. So, does Jack find a train inside? Yes or no? No. Good job, boys and girls. Okay, next question. Does the note say, "Happy birthday, Jack"? Let's go to the story to check. He finds a note. It says, "Happy birthday, Jack." So number 4, does the note say "Happy birthday, Jack"? Yes or no? Yes. Good job. Okay, the next page says answering a question. So it says, draw a picture about your birthday. Write a word or sentence about it. So you're going to draw a picture of your birthday and you can write a word or a sentence. Let's see. So for my birthday, I like to eat cake. This is something that I like to do on my birthday. What about you? And you can go ahead and draw your picture here of your birthday. You can draw a picture of a cake or a picture of you with a party hat, you with your friends or your family. Okay, I'm going to write one more sentence. On my birthday, let me move this one. I'll just write it here. On my birthday, I celebrate it with my family. So I wrote 2 sentences, but you only need to write 1 word or sentence, okay? So now we're gonna go ahead and move on back to, we're gonna start with math. So we're gonna work on squares and other rectangles. Emily is holding 2 shapes. Pick either the red or yellow shape. Draw a line from that shape to something in the room that has the same shape. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I will pick the red one. This is yes, a rectangle. Do you see anything in this room that has a rectangular shape? Yes, the bed, the dresser. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a line from the rectangle to the bed. Okay. Let's look at our video.
What do you know about shapes with 4 sides? Let's see. What shape was traced?
What shape is that?
A rectangle was traced. How do you know?
What can you tell me about this rectangle? How many sides does it have? How many vertices? A vertice is a corner.
The shape has 4 sides and 4 corners. The opposite sides are the same. Now, what do you see?
What does that look like?
You see a dollar bill. What shape does the dollar bill have?
What shape is it?
The dollar bill has the shape of a rectangle. How do you know it is a rectangle?
What can you tell me about both shapes? How are they the same? Look at the sides and look at the vertices.
The shape has 4 sides and 4 corners. The opposite sides are the same. Look at this shape. What shape was traced?
What shape is that?
How do you know?
How do you know?
The shape has 4 sides and 4 corners. The 4 sides are the same length. Look at this picture. What do you see? You see a cracker. What shape does the cracker have? The cracker has the shape of a square. How do you know it has the shape of a square?
What can you tell me about the sides? What about the corners?
It has 4 sides and 4 corners. The 4 sides are the same length. Now you can identify squares and other rectangles.
Okay. Okay, so let's look at number 1. Remember that squares and rectangles can be any size, and we're going to color the rectangles in each row and draw an X on the rectangle that is a square. So rectangle is a shape that has 4 sides, and the 2 opposite sides are the same length, and the other 2 are the same length. So here we have a circle. So we're going to leave that one alone. Let's look at this. What is that? Yes, it's a square, but it's also a rectangle because if you look, it has 4 sides, 4 corners. These 2 sides right here are the same length, and the top and the bottom are the same length. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to color it in. Okay, let's look at this shape. What is that? A rectangle. Yes, so we're going to go ahead and color it in. Let's look at the last one. What is that? A star. So we'll leave that blank. And then step 2 said, draw an X on each rectangle that is a square. So this one is a square, so we're going to go ahead and put an X on it. Is this one a square? No, it's not, because all the sides are not the same length. Let's go to number 2. What shape is this? Yes, it's a rectangle. So let's go ahead and let's color it in. Okay, let's move on to the next one. What is this? A diamond or a rhombus. Good job. Let's look at the next shape. What shape is it? A heart. The next one? A square, and it is also a rectangle. It has the 4 sides, 4 corners. The right and left sides are the same length. The top and the bottom are the same length. So step 2 says we need to draw an X on each rectangle that is a square. Is this rectangle a square? No, because the sides are not all the same. Let's look at this one. Is this a square? Yes, so we're going to go ahead and draw an X on it. Okay, let's go to the next page. So for number 3 and 4, we need to color the rectangles in each row and draw an X on each rectangle that is a square. So we're going to do the same thing. So for number 3, let's look at this. What shape is that? A rectangle. Yes, so we're going to go ahead and let's color it in. Let's look at the next one. What shape is that? A square. And is it a rectangle? Yes, it has the 4 sides, 4 corners. The right and left sides are the same length, and the top and the bottom are the same length. Okay, is this a rectangle? No, so we're going to leave it alone. Is this a rectangle? No. Okay, so now we're going to draw an X on the rectangles that are also squares. We're going to draw an X on the squares. No, yes, on each rectangle that is a square. Okay, so is this rectangle a square? No, so we're going to leave it alone. Let's look at the next one. Is this one a square? Yes, so we're going to draw an X on it. We know it's a square because each of the sides are the same length. Number 4. Is this a rectangle? That's a star. What shape is this? Oval. What shape is this? Rectangle. So we're going to color it in. What shape is this? A square and a rectangle. Good job. I'm going to color it in. Now we're going to draw an X on the rectangles that are also squares. Is this one also a square? No, because the sides are all different. Well, these two are the same and the top and bottom are the same. Is this one a square? Yes, because all the sides are the same length. So we're going to draw an X on it. Okay, for number 5, it says, circle the objects that are shaped like a rectangle, and then draw an X on each object that is shaped like a square. So we're going to circle all of the rectangles. Is this a rectangle? Yes. Is this a rectangle? Good job. Is this a rectangle? No. Is this a rectangle? What about the clock? The napkin? What shape is that? A triangle. Is this a rectangle? No, that's a circle. What about this? Yes. And the last picture? No. Okay, so now we need to go and draw an X on each object that is shaped like a square. If we look at all the sides, they're all the same length, so I know this is a square, so I'm going to draw an X on it. What about the puzzle? Yes, good job, it's a square. The envelope? No, it's not a square. The top and the bottom are the same length and the two sides are the same length, but all the sides are not the same. Let's look at the next one. It's not a square. Good job. Okay, so for this, number 6 through 9, we need to color all the rectangles in each row and draw an X on each rectangle that is a square. Okay. Is this a rectangle? Yes. Is this a rectangle? No, good job. Is this a rectangle? Yes. 4 sides, 4 corners. The top and bottom are the same and the 2 sides are the same. Is this a rectangle? No. Okay, so now we're going to draw an X on the squares. Is this a square? No. Is this rectangle a square? Yes. Let's look at number 7. Is this a rectangle? No. Is this a rectangle? Yes. Is this a rectangle? Yes. Is this a rectangle? No. Okay, so now we need to draw an X on all the squares. Is this rectangle a square? Yes. All the sides are the same length. Is this one a square? No. Good job. Number 8. We're going to color in all the rectangles. Is this a rectangle? Yes. Is this one a rectangle? No, good job. Is this one a rectangle? What about this one? Yes. So now we're going to draw an X on all the squares. Is this a square? No. Is this one a square? Yes. It has all the sides are the same length. Number 9. Is this a rectangle? No, good job. Is this a rectangle? Yes. Is this a rectangle? No. Is this one a rectangle? Yes. So now we're going to draw an X on all the rectangles that are squares. Is this also a square? Yes. All the sides are the same length. Is this one a square? No, good job. For number 10, it says draw a green rectangle and then draw a yellow square. So green rectangle. Next, I have to draw a yellow square. So next we're going to go ahead and we're going to move to our math packet. Okay, so for today, quick check. Directions, mark the shapes. So it says put an X on the shape beside the square. So the one next to the square, we need to draw an X. Oops. Oops. Okay, next it says circle the shape that is above the circle. Can you find the circle? Yes. So above means on top of. So on top of the circle we have this shape here that looks like a moon. We're going to circle it. Okay. Next, color the shape below the hexagon blue. Good job. This one doesn't let me color, so I'm going to go ahead and just draw a line. Okay, so our hexagon is here. Below it is under. So here's our star. Okay, there. Let me color it. Okay. Next, it says underline the shape below. Underline the shape above the triangle. Can you find the triangle? So it says underline the shape above it, the clover. So we're going to underline it. Okay, next it says color the shape next to the rectangle red. So, can you find the rectangle? The shape next to it, we're gonna color it red. Good job. Now let's go to the next page. Refocus. Use your cutout shapes. Solve. We don't have any cutout shapes, so we can go ahead and just draw them. So it says place a square on the triangle. So you're going to draw a square on top of the triangle. Okay. Number 2, place a hexagon above the square. So we're going to go ahead and draw a hexagon above the square. So we're going to draw it up here. A hexagon has 6 sides. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Next it says place a circle next to the square. Next to. Okay. Next, place a rectangle below the square. So under it, we need to do a rectangle. Okay, next it says place a triangle beside the square. So beside just means next to, so I'll draw it over here. Triangle. Good job. Okay, so now that we're done with math and reading, we're going to go ahead and go back. And we're going to start with science. What do living things need? All living things have needs. Living things need water and food. Living things need space and air. Some living things need sunlight, soil, or a home. You are a living thing. What do you need? Yes. You need shelter, water, and food. So let's see, what do living things need? Circle 3 things this animal needs to live. So this is a dog. What does a dog need to live? Does he need water? Yes. Does he need plants? No, good job. Does he need food? Yes. Does he need a fish? No. Does he need a home? Yes, good job. Now let's look at the next one. It says, circle 3 things that this plant needs to live. What is this? A tree. Does a tree need sunlight? Yes. Does a tree need water? Yes. Does a tree need a person? No, good job. Does a tree need soil? Yes. Does a tree need a sandwich? No, good job. So, what do both plants and animals need? So, does a tree need food? It gets its food from the soil, which is called nutrients. Okay, does a dog need food? Yes. What about water? Do both trees and dogs need water? Yes. Air. Do trees and dogs need air? Good job. What about space? Space to grow. A tree, yes. A dog needs space to grow too. What about sunlight? Yes, trees need sunlight. Shelter. Yes, a dog needs a shelter. And soil? The tree. Good job. Okay, so next we need to move on to what do living things need? Let's look at this quick video.
Just like plants, animals are living things that have needs. Animals need things like air, water, food, space, and shelter. Different animals need different types of food. This giraffe eats plants for food. This tiger eats other animals for food. An animal also needs space to live. Some animals need shelter. Shelter is a safe place. Look, this bird uses a tree for shelter. This prairie dog uses the ground for shelter. These fish use coral for shelter. Just like animals in the wild, pets have needs too. Pets need air and water. Pets also need food, space, and shelter. Got it? Sure you do.
Good job. Okay. So next we're going to go ahead and move on to social studies. So here we have families. See? It says, how do families celebrate?
How do families celebrate? Families celebrate special days. Families celebrate in many ways.
So yesterday we saw this picture here, and we can see by looking at the picture that they're celebrating a birthday, yes. And then here we can see they're having a graduation, and over here they're having a wedding. So first I'm going to go over some of the vocabulary words. Customs. Customs are activities that families participate in together, such as the way they celebrate holidays or birthdays, picnics for the 4th of July, or taking vacations to a favorite location. Traditions. Traditions, what are they? When families participate in activities repeatedly over time, those become family traditions. Traditions often are passed from one generation to the next. Why is it important for families to continue customs and traditions? Customs and traditions help fill a need in a family by providing a sense of belonging or bond among family members.